Welcome, chess enthusiasts, to an exciting game in the world of chess. Today we will look into the memorable clash between two chess titans, Magnus Carlsen and Vladimir Kramnik, during the 2019 World Blitz Chess Championship. Magnus Carlsen is widely known for his deep understanding of the game and strategic brilliance, making him one of the highest rated chess players in the world. His playing style is characterized by a combination of positional mastery, tactical skills, and an ability to exploit even the smallest advantages. On the other hand, Vladimir Kramnik has consistently demonstrated exceptional chess understanding and positional skills. He is known for his deep opening preparation, resourceful defense, and precise in-game technique. As we look into this epic encounter between world champions from different generations, we will witness their contrasting playstyles and tactical skills. Carlsen, a 5-time world chess champion, often showcases exceptional intuition and in-game mastery. In contrast, Kramnik, a former world chess champion, exhibits strategic brilliance and unbelievable defense. This clash not only highlights their individual strengths, but also marks a significant moment in chess history, as Kramnik plays in this event after announcing his retirement from chess in January 2019. Let us witness the tactical fireworks and strategic brilliance that unfolded in this epic battle between Carlsen and Kramnik. Magnus opens the game with pawn to d4, and Kramnik responds with his knight to f6. Carlsen then plays bishop to f4 on the third move, taking the game into the London system, a safe and solid opening for white. Kramnik opts for the sharp c5 variation, responding to white's bishop to f4. After a couple of moves, the pawns are traded on the central d4 square, and Kramnik's queen attacks the b2 pawn. Carlsen defends against the attack by moving his knight to b3. Kramnik then plays his bishop to f5, planning to attack the c2 pawn with his knight on b4 in the next move. Carlsen could have easily avoided the threat by playing pawn to c3. However, the 5-time world champion calmly develops his bishop to e2, preparing for short castling. Kramnik plays pawn to e6 without much thought. At this point, black could have played knight to b4, attacking the c2 pawn. The only way for Magnus to defend the pawn would have been to move his bishop to d3, resulting in a bishop trade and doubled pawns on the d-file. Magnus cannot play rook to c1 to defend the pawn, as he would lose his a2 pawn in return. However, Kramnik decides to focus on piece development rather than pursuing this variation. After short castling, Magnus plays a4 and a5 to gain a space advantage on the queen side. Kramnik could have prevented Magnus from playing a5 by playing his pawn to a5. However, that move would have permanently weakened the b5 square. Hence, Kramnik plays a6 and allows Magnus to play a5, attacking the b6 queen. After the queen goes back to d8, Magnus quickly centralizes his knight on e5. Kramnik also places his knight at the center of the board by playing knight to e4 after castling his king. At this juncture, after the opening phase, the former world champion has a good equal position against Magnus. It will be interesting to see who takes the initiative in the middle game. Does the former world champion still have what it takes to beat the 5-time world champion? Let's see how the game unfolds. By playing his bishop to d3, Magnus pins the e4 knight and plans to play pawn to f3, followed by trading the f5 bishop, resulting in a doubled pawn on the f-file for Kramnik. Recognizing this plan, Kramnik trades the e5 knight and plays bishop to g6. Over the next 3 moves, Magnus trades a couple of minor pieces on g6 and d6 respectively, leaving the game with just a knight on b3 along with queens and rooks. In general, bishops are considered stronger than knights in the endgame. However, Carlsen believes his knight has an edge over the bishop in this particular position. The position remains equal and highly symmetric, with no specific weaknesses for either side. This is where Carlsen decides to create something on the king side, initiating his plan with the pawn move g3. He intends to follow up with pawn to h4, king to g2, and pawn to h5, while maneuvering his rooks to the h-file in a few moves. Meanwhile, Kramnik can start to open up the queen side by mobilizing his pieces and seeking an advantage there. The game is shaping up for a tense finish, as both players strive to seize the initiative on both sides of the board. In the next couple of moves, Kramnik focuses on his queenside plan, trading his b pawn for white's a5 pawn. He brings his queen and rook to the b file, targeting the b3 knight. Magnus moves his knight to c1, avoiding the attack. Earlier, Magnus played his rook to e2 to support his b2 pawn. Kramnik continues to advance his a pawn, maintaining his control over the queen side. Meanwhile, Magnus is yet to launch his attack on the king side. Is it too late for the 5-time world champion? Let's wait and see. Magnus plays his pawn to h4, then provided support for his d3 knight by moving his rook to d2. This frees up his queen's diagonal, setting the stage for her arrival on h5 once the pawns get traded on h5. Magnus plays h5, and the pawns are traded on h5, allowing Magnus' queen to occupy a crucial square with the dangerous idea of king to g2 and rook to h1. Kramnik responds with pawn to g6 and bishop to f8, safeguarding his kingside. Having a bishop on g7 in most positions often acts as a defensive piece, protecting the king from potential checkmates. Kramnik hopes to employ a similar strategy here. With no major threats on the queenside for now, Magnus plays his knight to e5 and rook to d3, putting more pressure on Kramnik's kingside. Kramnik brings his queen all the way from the queenside to the kingside, providing extra defense for his weak kingside. He also pushes the strong centralized knight away from e5 by playing pawn to f6. Kramnik, known for his defensive skills in chess, faces a challenging task as Magnus brings piece after piece towards the kingside, ready to launch a deadly attack. Will Magnus Carlsen's relentless assault prevail, or can the former world champion showcase his defensive skills once again? Magnus brings his other rook into the attack by playing his rook to f3. The correct move for Kramnik here would have been to play the rook to b8, allowing Magnus to capture the f6 pawn and trade queens. This would have reduced some tension on the king's side and given Kramnik the opportunity to later capture the b2 pawn. However, in the time pressure, the former world champion pushes his pawn to a3. Magnus gladly captures the pawn, and Kramnik responds with f5. This move opens up the f-file and creates potential counterplay. However, little does Kramnik know that his move is about to backfire. Magnus spots a brilliant opportunity and plays an all-important move, queen to g5. This move not only attacks Kramnik's g6 pawn, but also opens up the possibility of getting into the king's side with his queen. Now, Kramnik finds himself in a difficult position. He cannot capture the knight on e5 since the f5 pawn is pinned by the rook on f3. Realizing the upcoming threat, Kramnik decides to move his king to f7 without much enthusiasm. Magnus, seizing the opportunity, brings his other rook to h1, further intensifying the attack. Kramnik seizes the chance to capture the pawn on a3, hoping to divert Magnus' attention away from the king's side. However, Magnus is ruthless and brings his rook to h7, putting even more pressure on Kramnik's defense. With 4 pieces actively participating in the kingside attack, even a player of Kramnik's caliber cannot avoid the upcoming danger. Kramnik, with no time to spare, takes the c3 pawn, while white knight checks Kramnik's king and the white queen captures the g6 pawn. The idea behind this move is to clear the way for capturing the g7 bishop on the next move, getting a clear material advantage. Upon realizing the uncomfortable situation, the former world champion resigns the game. Magnus Carlsen emerges victorious, demonstrating his prowess as one of the greatest chess players of our time. This memorable clash between Carlsen and Kramnik serves as an example to their unique styles, strategies, and the thrilling nature of high-level chess competition. Carlsen's relentless attack and precise calculation prevailed against Kramnik's defensive skills. The game showcased Carlsen's deep understanding of strategic concepts, his ability to create imbalances, and his talent for capitalizing on his opponent's weaknesses. This clash between two chess titans will be remembered as a remarkable moment in chess history, highlighting the contrasting styles and approaches of these two world champions. It serves as a testament to the enduring beauty and complexity of the game of chess.